Okay, so we're going to talk about Thor's training so we can stay consistent at home. So we want to reward the behaviors we like to see to increase the rate of those behaviors, and then we're going to use his training equipment to decrease the rate of unwanted behaviors. So first we're going to turn his collar on before we put it on him at the beginning of the day. So the collar has a little red dot right here, and it is a magnet. The key to that magnet to turn on the collar is actually on the side of his remote. Right here we see a matching red dot. We're going to touch the two together to turn the collar on, and you're going to see a green light. Touch the two together, we see the green light on, good to go. Then we're going to turn the remote on. So on the back of the remote we have the on-off button right here. We're going to push and hold that button until the screen lights up. And on the screen, you will see a number 12. That is the level that Thor is on to get a correction. So it's not the typical level, but Thor is a little bit sensitive in certain times. So it's just enough to kind of get his attention, but you may need to adjust it depending on the environment that he's in. So we're going to talk about how to use it. When we ask Thor to do a command, if he doesn't do it, we're going to mark the incorrect behavior with a verbal no, then follow through with the black S button. So we're going to say no, and then ask him to do the command that he was supposed to be doing. So for example, heel. Heel means walk next to me on a loose leash. That way he's not pulling ahead or getting too excited and sees a distraction and then starts to react. No, heel. So we're marking the incorrect behavior with a verbal no, then we are giving the correction, and then we follow through with the command that he's supposed to be doing. So no, correction, and then tell him heel. So again, heel is the command for walk next to me on a loose leash. We also have his prong collar that we're going to use to help guide him where he should be. So to take the collar off, you're going to actually slide the front prong down and just follow the pattern using your thumb to push down. Then you're going to squeeze these back in. You can't put it at the top and pull it down. So again, you're just following, and I'm putting a lot of pressure on my thumb and keeping this prong right here steady with my right hand. Push it down, and then we're going to squeeze this one, squeeze it together so that the links all match up. So we're going to attach the leash. Everything at home should be done with the leash on first. That way we can help guide Thor if he gets a little confused. We're going to attach it to the D-ring. That way it has a little flat side. That way when we pop and release it, it loosens correctly. If you just use the circle, it does not relax like it should. So the D-ring, tug, and release. So if he's starting to pull a little bit on a walk, you tell him no, use the remote, and then maybe give a little pop backwards on the collar to let him know that he was too far forward. For example, down, if you tell him down and he doesn't know, button down, you can give a little tug down of the leash, just as an example. Again, we're using the leash to help him when he doesn't quite understand what we're asking, if we're asking it in a new environment. So then we have sit. Sit means stay until he's told free or heel. So for example, door manners, you're going to have him sit, open the door. If you're going to step through the threshold, remind him sit, step through, then you can tell him free to follow you. If you don't say anything and you just start walking, he will think to heel with you. He will look at your body language and say, oh, you want me to come with you? So just keep that in mind. If you want him to stay, remind him sit. You can say stay, but it's just another word for him to figure out. So instead we just repeat the command, and then he understands to wait until he's told free. So then we have down. Down means lay down and stay until you're told free. So let's say you put him in a down, you walk away a little bit, you're in a store, you're shopping, you want to go back to him, good down, and then tell him free. The reason we don't call him to us from the down is because if he gets rewarded for coming to us, praise, petting, treats, whatever, he's not going to want to stay in the down. He would rather go to where the treats are, which is where you are. So we like to go back to him, good down, then tell him free. That way he doesn't get in the habit of just coming to us when he's supposed to be in a down or a sit stay. And then we have place. Place is a boundary stay when guests come over. So when we reward him for being on place, we put the treat on the bed. So the bed is the positive boundary that produces the reward. And then again, we go to him to release him by telling him free. We don't release from a distance. So you can put him on place. Definitely when guests come over, reward him as they're coming in. That way he's not reactive, he's not jumping. If he tries to get off place, no, correct? That's with any of the commands. He gets up from down. He tries to get off of place. No, place. No, down. Whatever command he should be in, you say no, you give the correction, then you tell him to do the command. And then once Thor's calmed down and you want him to say hi to your guest, you can tell him free. First couple times, keep him on a leash. That way, if he gets too excited, you can tell him no, make him sit, pop the leash, push the button. And then as he's calm, reward. Okay, now try that again with a calmer mindset, not so excited. And then we have come when called. So you should practice with the leash on first. Don't practice off leash. Anywhere that's not fenced in until you've practiced there with the leash on first as a safety net. So he's over there sniffing whatever, you tell him come, take a few steps back as he's running to you, praise him, good boy, good job, have him sit, reward, and then you can tell him free. So I like to give a little target by putting my hand on my leg to give him like a target to put his nose on. That way he doesn't get overly excited and run around me. So again, it's come, praise, back up, sit, reward, and then you can tell him free. If he does not come to you, you would say no, correct, and call him again until he does come to you. Once he does, you still follow through with the reward because he got his correction over there. With any other command, you don't reward right after a correction except for come when called, because you gave the correction while he was over there. You are the fun, positive person, so you want to reward him for coming to you anyway. And then we have leave it. Leave it means don't grab that. So if you drop something on the food, practice, or something on the floor, practice with dog safe food first. If you drop something, tell him leave it. If he still tries to go for it, you can just say leave it and push this button. You don't have to say no, but you can if you want to. You can just say leave it. That way he doesn't go get that item that he was after. So those are Thor's commands. This is how we're going to stay consistent. Again, it takes a dog 4 to 6 weeks or 500 repetitions of doing a command before they're proficient at it. So you want to make sure you practice these commands so again he understands what your boundaries are. Again, with recall, practice with the leash on first, especially in a non-fenced in area. That way if he gets confused, you can reel him in on the leash. So the most important thing, reward to increase the rate of behaviors, correct, to decrease the rate of behaviors, stay consistent. And now we're going to show you Thor's commands. Down. Good boy. Down. Down. Good, down. Good, down. Down. Free. Good boy. Good deal. Sit. Sit. Free. Lead it. Good job. Free. Okay. That one too. Good job. Where you at? Where you? You didn't even go for it. Free. Okay. Good job. Good job. Thor. Good job. Free. Lead it. Good boy. Free. Okay. Good job. Good job. Place. Good boy. Place. Good place. Good boy. Good place. Good place. Place. Good place. Free. Good boy. Good job. Okay, so we're going to talk about the rest of the features of the remote collar. So we know how to turn the collar on, but to turn it off at the end of the day, same thing, we're going to touch the two red dots. Red light means it's off. If you turn it off at night, it can last up to 2 days on a charge. And then for the remote, the on-off button, we just push and hold that and make sure the screen goes blank. It does take a few seconds, so we're going to turn these back on. And we talked about the black S button is going to be the button you use for corrections. I have not needed the red S button, but what that's going to do is that's going to add 15 to whatever level is on the screen. So this is for emergencies only. For example, let's say Thor gets off leash and he's heading towards the road, something dangerous, you call him back to you, he doesn't listen with the original correction, so you would boost him to snap him back to reality, to get him back to come to you. Again, we haven't needed this yet, but you have it just in case. Again, it's a boost feature for emergencies only. This dial up here can change the level, but notice it's not moving right now. We need to unlock it, so we push down and hold it to unlock the level. The 1D is flashing. We can now make the level less or more depending on what Thor needs. It just depends on the situation. Sometimes he's extra sensitive and he might only need level 10. Sometimes he's not as sensitive, he might need, 15 or 20. It just depends on the situation. Is he more stimulated? The more stimulated he is, he would need a higher level. So right now 12 seems to be working out for him, but if we need to adjust it, we can. And then we have the vibrate feature, which is the T button over here. If we push that, it'll vibrate the collar. You can give this in the future as a warning. Whenever you say no, you want to follow through with the stimulation so he understands what your new boundaries are. But sometimes he's doing pretty well and you just want to say, hey, don't do that. You can give a vibrate in the future. So then we have the on off button, which is also the light. So because Thor is a darker color, you might not be able to see him well at night. If instead of pushing and holding this, you just tap it, you will activate the flashlight on Thor's collar. So tap once for a flashing flashlight, tap again for a solid flashlight, tap one more time to turn the flashlight off. Then we have the M/C button. That stands for momentary and continuous. You don't need to push that button. It changes it from a momentary stimulation to a continuous one. He does not need that in his training right now. This is rechargeable and waterproof, so make sure this is closed to keep dirt and water out of it. And then we have the charging port underneath here. Again, this is waterproof, so he can go swimming, he can get wet, and he can still use it. But you want to make sure if he does get wet that you take the collar off, let him dry thoroughly before putting the collar back on, because if you let moisture and bacteria build under there, he can get a skin infection, which could lead to a hot spot. So because this does have to fit snug to allow the contact points to make connection with his skin, you don't want to leave it on him for more than 14 hours a day. Take it off at night, let his skin air out. And then you can also change the location of where you put the collar. That way, again, you don't risk getting bacteria and creating some sort of hot spot on one side of his neck. But again, this is waterproof, reaches up to a half mile. It also has a 2-year warranty. So if anything happens to the collar, you can contact the information on the box. It comes with a charger, so you can charge both the collar and the remote at the same time. And then I didn't think his hair was too long and thick, so I didn't adjust him to the longer prongs, but we have them here in case you feel they're necessary. And then the little black tool is what tightens and loosens the prong on the remote collar. Okay. And this should only take a couple hours to charge, so it's not going to take like all night. So that's it as far as the extra features on the remote collar. It's important to stay consistent. When in doubt, use a leash to help guide Thor if he's a little confused. Make sure you have fun, stay consistent, and let us know if you have any questions.